I think this is something that is used to push the price of stocks down because, all right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk to you about Palantir Technology, stock ticker PLTR. This is a technology company, a software company. This is a high growth company. I've done a few videos on this. I wanted to bring you an update. So before we get started, if you're new to the channel, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And of course, everybody, please smash the like button for us. It helps the channel out a lot. Also, you will see a link in our pinned comment below to our free Discord. So you're welcome to come on over there. We've got about 600 people over there, and we talk about these high growth stocks all the time. So let's talk about Palantir. First, I'm going to show you the reason why I want to talk about them today. Okay, this is a press release they put out a few weeks ago, and essentially what they're saying is Palantir Technologies announces today that results for its first quarter ended March 31st, 2022 will be released Monday, May 9th, 2022, prior to the open of the U.S. markets, which means if you want to make any moves ahead of this, it has to be this Friday. So that's why I wanted to do a quick update video right now and tell you my thoughts on this, because essentially, if you wanted to make a play on this, you have the rest of this week until the end of trading on Friday. So I just want to go through the stock a little bit and update it since my last video. I did 2 videos on this about 2 months ago. A few things had happened. They had reported year-end earnings, and the market had a very bad reaction to that. And then, just a few days later, ARK Investment and Cathie Wood sold 100% of their investment in Palantir, and they were at that time the 3rd largest investor in the company. So obviously, that also created some massive downward pressure in the stock. So subsequent to that, I want to show you what has happened and where the stock is at, and see if there's a buying opportunity or if anything that you may want to do before or after earnings. Okay, as of today, Palantir closed at $10.55. The trading day is over, and that left them with a market cap of about $21.5 billion. So you'll see their 52-week low is $9.74. So they're not quite at their 52-week low, but however, when you look at the chart, you're going to see they are at pretty much a very strong line of support right now. Okay, I want to take a quick look at their growth estimates and their earning estimates. And they expect about a 30% compound annual growth rate over the next 5 years. This company is already profitable and cash flow positive, so this is a company that is moving in the right direction. Now, their PE is very high, but their price to sales ratio is pretty reasonable. In fact, it's very low historically for them. So I'm seeing some opportunity here, but I want to get through the rest of this video because I also want to talk about this upcoming earnings. So you see their sales for 2021 were $1.54 billion. They're looking at $2 billion this year and $2.6 billion next year. So that's somewhere around 30% growth each of these years, and that's what they expect to do over the next 5 years. So if I look at a few of the other metrics, if I look at price sales, so on a trailing 12-month basis, they're down to about 12 or 13 price sales. They've been as high as 40, so that was maybe a little too high, but 12 seems a little bit low, and they're less than 10 on forward sales. So I think there is some room to the upside for there quite a bit. You'll see price earnings is very high. Their PE ratio is 54. Now, they do intend to make more money next year than this year. There are many that expect this to be one of the major software players going forward, and they have moved from government contracts, which they pretty much have on lockdown. They are now getting corporate contracts, and that is vastly increasing the base from which they can draw business from. So I don't want to go through their whole previous earnings report. If you want to see that, I did do a deep dive video on that in March, so you can check that out. What I'm more interested in is looking what's happened to the price action of this stock and doing a little more technical analysis and see where this may go from here. But first, since I did my video in March, Palantir had a very nice run up of about 40%, and that was through April, and then actually it gave all of that back in April, and it's right back to where it was when I made my last video. So I feel like we're right back where we started. If you managed to, through options, or if you bought and sold at the right time, there was a nice opportunity in the middle. This did go up 40%, but now we sit here where it's pulled all the way back, and so I believe I'm seeing another opportunity. But again, I want to hold off on that until we get to the chart. But first, I want to show you an article. Okay, this is an article on the Motley Fool. Why Palantir stock dropped 24.3% in April. And then they say unprofitable high growth stocks are not doing well in the current market environment. And yes, that is absolutely true. They have a positive EBITDA, so they are profitable and they are positive cash flow. But The point is, they're a very high growth stock and they trade on a high multiple, and those stocks have been beaten up not only over April where they got beat up badly, but really since last November. Those stocks that fit that type of a profile have been getting beaten down pretty soundly. So they go on to say, so what? They say there were no material business updates from Palantir in April, so all the price moves come from changes in market sentiment. So that's one of the points I wanted to get across. Nothing has changed since they reported earnings last time. This is all just riding the wave of the market, and the market has definitely been at one of the most maximum risk off periods I have ever seen. So this is clearly a high growth risk on stock, and so people have been exiting this. Last month, inflation continued to run rampant through the United States economy with the last recorded data point at an 8.5% year-over-year rate. So we know inflation was high. How does this affect the price of Palantir stock? Well, when inflation is high, the Federal Reserve tends to raise interest rates, and we know that they are raising interest rates. In fact, I expect them to raise interest rates tomorrow. I think everybody expects them to raise 50 basis points or 0.5% tomorrow on Wednesday. So we know that's happening. They just raised them 1/4 point at the last meeting. It looks fairly certain they're going to raise them 0.5 point tomorrow. So this is a rising interest rate environment. They then go on to say when interest rates rise, it becomes more attractive to hold U.S. Treasury bonds and less attractive to hold an expensive growth stock. So this is where I take exception, and I know that this is conventional wisdom, but I just want to show you guys something. If we look at the 10-year Treasury bond, it's at 2.96%. So I just don't believe at all there's a pool of people out there, and if there is, it is extremely small. The typical Palantir investor is not taking their money out of a high growth stock like Palantir, where they hope to maybe 3x or 5x or 10x their money over the next 10 years, and moving it into a 10-year bond where they hope to get 3% interest over the next 10 years. I don't think that group of people exists. I think this is something that is used to spook the market. I would love to see the list of people who said, you know what, I'm getting out of Palantir and going into 10-year bonds. I think this is a little bit of a false narrative that gets pushed. It does become a self-fulfilling prophecy in the price on these stocks because the market believes that that's true. However, I don't think it's true, and I think whenever it happens, the switch gets flipped back on. We're back in a risk-on environment, and then all of a sudden a stock like this does its thing. The question is, when is that going to happen, and how much more is this potentially going to go down before that? So let's take a quick look at the chart. The first thing I'm going to do is show you the chart a little bit on a larger time frame. So this is the Palantir on the 1-day time frame, and this line right here goes all the way back to January of 2021. So that is over 1 year ago. This is outside of its 52 weeks, but it's not that far over 1 year ago. So you see that in that time, Palantir's stock is down 76%, more than 76%. So that is a massive downturn in the price of this stock. But I'm going to show you one more number. This is from November through today. So that is about 6 months. Somewhere in the middle of November is when we started to turn towards a risk-off environment, and these high-growth stocks started to plummet. And you can see November, December, January, this thing was down in a straight line. Even just since November, which was 6 months ago, the stock's down over 60%. So this is a massive pullback in the price of this stock. Now, there's a few times that this stock gapped down, and that happens to be during the last 2 earning reports. So the last earning report they had was here on February 16th, and you can see there was a big gap down from where they were trading here to where they were trading right after earnings. So that earnings report, although I read through it, I thought actually it was a positive earnings report. And again, please remember, this is not financial advice. You guys should read the earning report yourself and do your due diligence so that you understand this stock, so that you can have conviction in it if and when you buy it. But from my perspective, I thought this was a good earnings report. Obviously, the rest of the market disagreed with me, and this stock pulled back greatly. However, like I was talking about, it did have over a 40% run-up in the next month after that. So things were going well, and then the beginning of April hit, and all of a sudden, everybody really doubled down on the risk-off trade. So all of these stocks got punished. Whatever progress they had made in March was wiped out in April. So we're really all the way back to where we started from. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Okay, so you can see I have a line here at $10.55. On February 24th, the market bottomed out, and most of their stocks had a 52-week low or near a 52-week low. Well, Palantir was no exception. It gapped open down to $9.74. But what I wanted to show is it actually closed at $11.83. So on the day it hit its 52-week low, that was really more of a capitulation day, and that low was never closed at. So the actual 52-week low on a close for this company is closer to my red line at about $10.36. So they're sitting at $10.55 right now, which means they're virtually right at their line of support. And I will tell you, they never went below this line in the entire year 2021 either. So, from January 1st, 2021 through today, this line of support at $10.30 something cents has held. That doesn't mean it will hold forever, particularly since they have an earnings report coming up on Monday. And that is why I wanted to do this video right now. Here in February and back here in November, you can see this large gap down on the earnings previous to that. So that is 2 earnings reports in a row that the market has not liked at all, and the stock gapped down big time on those. Past results has nothing to do with the future, so there's no telling that that's going to happen the next time. However, just understand there is a little bit of a trend here. The market tends to be selling earnings the last 2 times in a row. This is really the last line of support. It's been a strong line of support. So if it breaks below this, if it gaps below this, there's just no telling how low it will go. There really is no other line of support below this. So your risk to the downside, I suppose, is that this line of support does not hold. At that point, all bets are off. Conversely, just to get back to where they were at the beginning of April, which was 1 month ago, they would have to go up 43%. So that would be my first short-term price target. So they were at around $18 and just under $19 here at the beginning of January. So that represents over an 80% increase in the price of their stock just to get back to where they were in January. Back on November 8th, which was just a little less than 6 months ago, this stock was trading at $27. So that is about the time that the market turned risk averse. So for me personally, I believe at some point the market will rotate back to a risk-on environment. I don't know how long that takes. So is this a 1-year price target? Is this a 2-year price target? I don't know. But it's 158% potential upside just to get back to where this stock was 6 months ago. For me personally, I view this as a very good risk-reward equation. I might consider playing it through options. Obviously, again, not financial advice. You guys need to decide what you want to do, whether you want to wait until after earnings or whether you think it's a good buying opportunity right now or whether you want to just pass on this one altogether. But I wanted to get this video out before the earnings hit so that you guys could have this information. So if you made it this far, please remember, subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.